So you have a mechanically sound 3D printer, but you can't get those layers to look more consistent? Then you need to try one slicer setting that will truly do wonders. And no, this is not a bait. I've tested this with PLA and ABS filaments on multiple printers. So let's reveal probably the least intuitive slicer setting after today's sponsored segment from PCBWay. If you're looking for professional services like CNC machining, 3D printing even from metal, PCB manufacturing, or the full range of all other services that are required for your projects, make sure to check them out with a link in the video description and get $5 off for your first purchase. Before you apply the one setting that truly makes wonders, first you must know there are two main factors that can significantly add up to this inconsistency. You might think that our extruders have surgical precision, but in reality they just do not. Even the most common extruder design that has dual drive gears pushing the filament has a fundamental issue of those gears never meshing perfectly. That will lead to less consistent extrusion compared to the single drive gears. This is nothing new, and lately we started to see the glimpses of these type of extruders coming back to the market. Prusa MK4 uses a single drive gear, Bambu A1 series uses a single gear, and you can even print and make one from a kit as a standalone extruder or drop-in replacement for your Voron. So the improvement you'll get with that one magical slicer setting will depend on how consistently your printer can extrude the plastic in the first place. But don't get me wrong, you'll still see a noticeable difference even with dual gear extruders that has no glaring issues. Another factor that will make your layer lines less consistent is printing at different flow rates and speeds. The slower you print, the more time filament spends in the hot end. As plastics have a very low thermal conductivity, your extruded wall width will depend a lot on how long the filament spent in the hot end. To better show this effect, I created a test print. It has two slots where no infill will be printed. This means that we'll be slowly printing bridges. That will lead to the filament spending more time in the hot end and being heated more, and after we're done bridging, we will be printing the perimeters of the next layer with way more heated filament, resulting in slightly bulge and more shiny layer lines. This is probably the least explored aspect of why prints have inconsistent layers. The only way to combat this that I know is to have high flow hot end, print slow with the same speeds across all features, and travel as fast as possible. So with all this out of the way, the one setting that will give an insane quality boost to your prints is printing the outer walls first before the inner ones are printed. You might be very skeptical about this because of the overhangs, but this is where your mind might be blown for the second time. In the Orca Slicer 2.0, for all my print comparisons, I use the inner wall ordering option. In my opinion, this is the best order, as when we slowly print bridges, it will first print the inner walls to flush that hotter filament, then print the outer one, and finally finish the last inner wall. The only additional setting that you might look into is the travel distance threshold. In this case, it will eliminate unnecessary retractions and Z-hops when we only need to travel just a bit longer distance to print that outer wall. So now let's dive into the comparisons. I started with a printer that has a dual drive gear extruder. The first thing that I did on all the printers was to calibrate the flow rate for the printing speeds I would use. In the beginning, I tested printing inner walls first with the precise wall option in the Orca Slicer. What this option does, it prints the outer wall without squishing in the inner one. This leads to a small improvement on my fully modded KP3S Pro printer, but it comes nowhere even close to what improvement we get when printing the outer wall first. I also tried combining the outer wall and precise wall option, but as expected there was no improvement in the layer consistency of the print. Next, I ran the same test print on the Bambu A1, which has a single filament drive gear. Before we look into the comparisons between two printers, it is good to see how extrusion consistency look when comparing two tested extruder types. Like I said before, a properly functioning dual drive gear extruder is good enough, but as you see, the single drive gear results are just objectively more consistent. When printing the inner walls first, the A1 prints look almost as nice as with dual gear extruder when printing the outer walls first. The precise wall option with A1 made a small improvement, but yet again the difference that printing the outer wall first makes is just on a completely different level and the print look almost flawless. Well, that's great, but I think all of us want to know how this setting performs with overhangs. Well, with my design cooling test print, literally every print from PLA surpassed all of my expectations. It seems that printing outer wall first can result in worse overhangs only at extreme angles. But it also will depend on your cooling setup, as my fully modded KP3S Pro performed just as well at those extreme angles. You might think that this is very forgiving test print, but I rest assure you that it is not, and many of us stock consumer 3D printers struggle a lot as their cooling is just not that good. While with more organic prints, the layer consistency improvement will be very minimal. In some areas I saw better overhangs by printing the outer wall first. I know it just feels like it makes no sense, but all my test prints from PLA were so much better looking and I had no problem printing overhangs. Not to mention that printing the outer walls first will make your practical parts fit perfectly. This leads to the question how this one setting works when printing ABS. This is where your mind will be blown even more. The results with BabbleUp X1C felt completely absurd, as higher overhangs looked so much better with printing the outer wall first. Surely this is just a fluke, right? So I switched to another brand ASA filament and a more budget GDQ1 Pro printer. But nothing changed. When printing the outer walls first, it gave a print that is just on a different level when it comes to layer consistency, and the overhangs continued to be better compared when printing inner walls first. I printed and compared more things like this USB cable holder or way more complex worn part that yet again had an insane improvement in print quality. I also tested on more printers, and this made me realize that even I and the 75% of you are missing out on something incredible. From my testing, this option not only makes wonders to layer consistency in your prints, but I didn't even find any significant downsides when printing overhangs, and in some cases they can even become better. Plus, it also gives you way better tolerances for all of your practical prints. So give this setting a try, especially as making quick comparison prints is very easy to do in Orca Slicer. All you have to do is go from Global tab into Object, select the print and choose different wall ordering option. You can post your prints and with what printer you made them on Twitter, as it will be interesting to see what your experience is with all this. If you have discovered any similar settings that make significant improvement to the print quality, make sure to share them in the comments below. Great suggestions sooner or later will turn into a video to make more people aware of that good stuff. Huge thanks to everyone who supports my work on Patreon and YouTube. Well, that's all from me, and I'll see you next time.